Hey, everybody. So we're going to be looking at our 5.1, 5.4 test review on DeltaMath today. As you guys can see, there are three class examples we'll be going over together, and then the others I'll have you try on your own. Um, the majority of this test and the way it starts is with our, five triangle congruence theorems. By the way, if you haven't copied this, if you don't have this in your notes, make sure you do. It's really important. But yeah, it starts out by just having us choose which one is being used here. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so go ahead and click on that class example with me. All right, so directions determine the relationship between the two triangles and whether or not they can be proven congruent. Okay, so maybe the first thing to look at is just these drop downs. The first thing, the two triangles are related by, right, and it gives you an option as to, why the triangles, I guess, are related. All right, it's using the word related because if you guys notice, not all of these are one of our triangle congruence theorems. All right, side angle, that is not one of our theorems. All right, and angle is not one of our theorems either. Okay, but it's still an option. If our problem is using that information, we still need to pick it, and then we'll say whether or not we can say the triangles are congruent. Okay, and that kind of brings us into this class example. They are giving us three congruent triangles, or sorry, angles, three congruent angles on both triangles. Okay, that would be angle. All right, so that is what we're choosing here. But again, that is not one of our five triangle congruence theorems, right? That is not one of these. Okay, so is that enough information to say that our triangles are congruent? No. Okay, so the next drop down is basically that, cannot be proven congruent. Okay, you can go ahead and submit your answer. Okay, so I started out with a cannot be proven because I think those are the weird ones, the ones to look out for. The ones that are using our theorems, I feel like we're a little bit more familiar with. Though I think it's worth just kind of jumping in and seeing another one here. So let me see. Let me go back real quick. Okay. So go ahead and try out there. We're having you do 15 of these. Go ahead and jump into it. Just know on this section, if you miss a problem, it's going to deduct a point. So if you get 5 right and then you miss the next one, you're now going to have 4 right. Okay, so take your time on these and really make sure you're picking the correct one. I'm going to click on it just because I think it's interesting to look at. On this one, this isn't going to be your first problem, but I can see we're using side, right? So I click that, and because that's one of our 5 triangle congruence theorems, I would say can be proven congruent and go from there. Okay, so again, be careful with these. Some of them are tricky, but talk to us if you, put in your answer. If it says you're wrong, it's going to give you a second chance. Really good time to, call me over. Okay, so yeah, again, if you want to take a pause in the video, go ahead and try those out. You can. Okay, so next thing is moving into solving for interior angles. Go ahead and check out this class example. All right, so these are kind of your typical find the missing angle of a triangle. It's saying solve for x, but I would more think about this section as just find the missing angle. All right, these problems are all giving us 2 other angles. So when we go to do these problems, the big thing to remember, the 3 angles of any triangle always add to 180. All right, so on these particular problems, if you guys remember, what I recommend doing is just grabbing a calculator, taking 180, and subtracting the other 2 angles, 64, 74, and getting, the value of your missing angle. So yeah, just so I don't mess up, I'm going to grab a calculator, do my subtraction. It looks like I'm getting 42. Okay, so that's what you can go ahead and click in here. Okay, so that is a fairly straightforward section. Just remember, they add to 180. I think it's kind of hard to mess those up, right? Yeah, take a look at the next section. Let's go ahead and go back. Or by the way, you could try out some of those on your own, take a pause, and then we can move on. All right, so the last section is just getting into solving for more interior angles, but these problems are going to include a more, interesting value for our angles. Okay, it's not just x anymore. On this, it's a 3x plus 4. All right, on these problems, this is where writing out the equation and solving is, kind of the point of them. Okay, I want to see this on the test, so make sure, you're showing your work when you take the test. But yeah, I would get out a scratch piece of paper here and let's see what happens. Okay, so we are given our three angles. Let's go ahead and make our equation. I'm going to start with this one since it has my variable. So 3x plus 4, okay, plus 50 plus that one, 75. All three angles added together equals 180. And obviously you can add them in any order you want. I like to start with a variable. Okay, from here, it's just a matter of solving for x. I see I do have some like terms I can combine, 4 plus 50 plus 75. So I'm going to do that for my first step. I'm getting 129. Okay, the 3x, there's no other x's, so I'm going to just bring it down. Okay, but I combine all that stuff together. We got 129 equals 180. All right, and yeah, now we just have a two-step equation. Got to get rid of our addition or subtraction first, right? So we'll subtract 129. All right, and it looks like we're getting 3x equals 51. And now we can get rid of 3 by dividing. And it looks like it's going to go in evenly. We're going to get x equals 17. Okay, and I'm just double checking, they asked me to solve for x, so I'm basically done on this problem. Also, it's this one, I got a nice clean answer. If the problem wanted you to get decimals on DeltaMath, it would tell you in the directions that, round to the nearest tenths or whatever. So if it isn't telling you how to round in the directions, it's kind of a little clue as to saying you're not going to get any decimals. All right, so just check the directions before you put in any answers. Okay, but yeah, there it is. You can go ahead and type in just 17. It doesn't need to be x equals 17. Just go ahead and put in 17, and you'll have your answer. Okay, and yeah, that's basically the test here. Not too bad, if you've been keeping up, if you feel comfortable with those triangle congruence theorems. Alrighty, so yeah, try some of these problems out. If you get stuck, call me over. I can help you out. Thanks.